Hello, comics fam. We already have our 16 champions from the Graveyard of Gods. Now begins the one-on-one combat rounds. In today's video, Superman fights Captain Atom. So, hold your breath, punch that subscribe button to atoms, and let's dive in. Captain Atom reflected on his past. How he was born as Nathaniel Christopher Adam. How he did not have much control over his future, and as a result, he signed up for the Air Force. He sacrificed himself to take part in the experiment which blew him up and turned him into Captain Atom. He was a superhero, the weapon of the country, but he wasn't a god. Not yet. He had yet to fulfill his destiny. At the KO tournament, Superman yelled at Captain Atom. He was angry that Captain Atom had hurt Supergirl and drove her out of the tournament. They had just finished running the second gauntlet at the Graveyard of Gods, and Superman's hand, the one that Lex cut off, was back. Captain Atom coldly told Superman to get his head in the game. According to him, Superman was too worried about what everyone was doing rather than focusing on winning. Superman said that he was going to have a long talk with the captain once this was all over. The captain saluted him. "Sir." "Yes, sir." And reality warped around them. The one-on-one versus rounds were about to begin, and round one was Superman versus Captain Atom. The heart of Apokolips spoke. It said that the heroes had to go for a hand-to-hand combat. There would be rounds in this level. Best 2 out of 3 would win. When one combatant lost, they had to choose a form to win, and the only way forward was to fight. Superman pleaded to Captain Atom that they were in a reality where the heart of Apokolips had created the real metropolis. There might be civilians who might get hurt if they fought, but Captain Atom said that the heart was messing with them. He geared up for a fight and told Superman, "I will play to win. Can you say the same?" Saying this, he punched Superman. The power of the impact decimated the skyscrapers in the surroundings. Superman crashed through the buildings and came to a rest. He screamed at Captain Atom, "Stop! There might be real people here." But Captain did not stop. He tore through the air and punched Superman. But Superman caught the punch mid-air. The impact let out a sonic boom. Superman turned and punched Captain Atom hard. Captain Atom broke through the ground, creating a massive crater. He screamed at Superman. "You heard what Time Trapper said, no mercy." Saying this, he hurled a nuclear energy blast towards Superman. Superman was thrown back. He flew in and punched Captain Atom. Captain Atom took a few steps back. He transformed his hands, one into kryptonite and the other into emitting red sun energy. He grinned. "Can you survive this, Superman?" and started punching Superman hard. One blow after another. Superman, bleeding, told Captain Atom, "I know you will never kill in cold blood." Captain Atom replied that Superman did not know him. He said that his suit that held his energy had ruptured multiple times till date. He had died, and his essence was lost in time and space, but Superman never tried to search for him. Saying this, he lifted Superman up and started draining the solar power from him. Superman was reduced to a skeleton, and then he exploded into bones and ashes. The voice of the heart of Apokolips echoed, "KO." Captain Atom had won round one. He had a taste of the Omega energy right then, and he could feel the power that surged through him. But right at that instant, the heart resurrected Superman and announced, "Round 2 begins. Choose your forms." And both Superman and Captain Atom were presented with avatars, their past and future selves, anything that they have been or could be in the future. And both the heroes chose. Captain Atom chose his Monarch form, a god from alternate timeline who could control time and space, and Superman chose the Superman Prime avatar from the 853rd century. The heart of Apokolips modified the arena to look like Captain Atom's hometown. It reminded Captain Atom what he was fighting for. Superman said, "We are on the same page, Cap. We are both fighting to save the ones we love." Captain Atom growled. Then, fight. Superman flew away at an unfathomable speed towards the sun. Captain Atom screamed at him that he could drain the sun too. But Superman said that he was just trying to pull off a trick taught to him by the Flash, and he was just gathering enough strength to do that. He breathed in and blew out his Arctic breath, and froze both the sun and the earth, and everything in between. It was as if he froze the entire existence. The unthinkable chill slowed down the quantum fields, including the atoms that made them. They both would die, and Superman just had to last longer. And he did. The heart of Apokolips announced, KO. Superman had won round 2. Now came the final round. Superman and Captain Atom were resurrected, and the heart of Apokolips commanded them to choose an avatar. Captain Atom said that he understood the mistake he did in the previous round. He knew what form he had to choose. Superman calmly warned Captain Atom, Nathan, be careful. We have to be ourselves. We cannot lose ourselves to the corruption of Omega energy. Superman pointed out that as they went closer to the heart of Apokolips, the corruption and manipulation increased. But Captain Atom replied, I am sorry. Instead of choosing one avatar, I choose all of them. I have all power. He became an amalgamation of all his avatars, from past, present, and future. But Superman chose to be himself. He said that he refused to lose himself. Captain Atom said that in his godlike form, he could control all of existence. They did not need to fight now. He could just bend time-space when the heart tried to create the new arena. He would reach out and covet the heart of Apokolips and become King Omega. Superman screamed at him, Don't do this. You were supposed to choose one form. The heart knows when we cheat, and it will defend itself. But Captain Atom did not listen. He extended his hands to touch the heart of Apokolips. And right then, thump, thump, boom, boom, the heart started beating frantically. And the heart started pushing Captain Atom back through his own timeline. Reality fractured around him. He started landing punches on Superman. He said that the heart of Apokolips had shown him the future that he could create once he became the king. Superman said that it was not for them to decide how the future should be, and he trusted his friends to do the right thing. Captain Atom screamed, Whatever happens, I will win. He said that history meant nothing to him. He grabbed the reality fragments of the nuclear blast that had created him and hurled them at Superman. He growled, Eat an origin bomb. There was a huge explosion, and Superman was right at the middle of it. All of Captain Atom's reality was gone. He reveled in victory. He screamed at the heart of Apokolips and said, Only I remain, and I have won. The world will be mine. But right then, Superman emerged. He had been changed by the origin bomb. Now he was an amalgamation of Captain Atom's powers and his own. He said, Captain, it's the heart talking, and you are too blind to see it. Saying this, Superman punched Captain Atom and caught him in a chokehold. He started absorbing Captain's powers, the same way Captain did in round 1. Captain Atom pleaded with him to stop, saying that if he detonated, it could be anywhere he materialized. Superman said that he knew, and he was sorry. Saying this, he used his powers to detonate Captain Atom. Superman stood victorious at the end. He had made up his mind not to be corrupted by the Omega energy. Right then, the heart of Apokolips pulled him into the next round. Meanwhile at the Watchtower, Booster Gold attacked Time Trapper as Grodd and World Forger Alpheus looked on, bewildered. Booster had been possessed by Darkseid. He growled that the heart of Apokolips and its pits belonged to him. He threw Time Trapper and said that there was no way any of them could win, as the entire path had been designed by him. And right then, Alpheus charged at him with his reality-warping axe. Fear? What a round! Round 2 drops next, my comics fan, where Aquaman fights Hawkman. It's the warrior of the skies versus the king of the oceans. Who wins? Who loses? We are going to narrate the whole story in our next video. Till then, let us know your thoughts about how we are doing in the comments section. And don't forget to stay tuned and stay Absolute.